I like how within this chapter, Nakaba-sensei goes out of his way to let us know that there's only 3 different types of people that could stand up to Mel. That would be the fairies, the giants, or the humans. And soon as that was said within this chapter, I started thinking like, that means we have King, we have Diane, we have Bon, and we have Escanor. So, we have our 4 individuals that could potentially step up and face Mel. That's not counting Gowther, that got the courage to fight once again, because he realizes if he wants his friends to live, he's got to put aside his feelings towards what happened to Mel to stand up and try to stop him. So, we have 5 characters that could potentially stand up and fight him, which makes me pretty excited, because, I mean, it'd be really cool to see, like, Gowther, Diane, King, Bon, and Escanor working together to bring this man down. But in all honesty, I don't know if Escanor really can do much at this point against Mel because of all the commandments he's absorbed, to, how he is also an archangel. I mean, there's so many variables that I just am very curious if Escanor would even stand a chance at this point. Because, I mean, let's look at the power scaling for a second. Yes, Escanor's the 1 mode to what we have seen when he fought the assault mode Meliodas was ridiculous. And before Mel achieved this, new commandment, Escanor might have been able to go toe-to-toe with the man, be able to fight him somewhat because of just how insanely strong he was, and, when he was fighting assault mode Meliodas. But now, if Escanor was to go up against Mel, I just don't think it would work out that well, because, I mean, this man is an archangel with 4 commandments, and if we go along the lines of what was previously established, we know that it takes 2 commandments to equal 1 archangel. And so, since Mel has 4 commandments within his body, that legit means that he is literally 2 archangels with just the commandments alone, including him being an archangel. Yes, he doesn't have his grace, but he's still an archangel. So, I mean, when you look at his overall base power, he's definitely way beyond what Escanor is right now, besides probably the 1 mode, depending on where Nakaba-sensei wants to take that. So, Mel at this moment is pretty freaking ridiculous, and because of what was established in this chapter, saying that the light and dark can no longer even hurt Mel, I don't even think Escanor's, grace, his sunshine, probably could do even anything to Mel at this point. It probably would not damage him at all, because, I mean, he's obviously going to have insane regeneration. To him also having a mix of light and dark, that means he's pretty much going to be immune to both attacks. So I just don't think Escanor could potentially do anything against the man, unless you're just extremely strong. For instance, if you're also on Meliodas' level, or the Supreme Goddess, or, the Demon King. I think at this point, those are the only individuals that could truly do damage to him if they're using light and dark powers. So it falls along with, everybody else having to do something. For instance, Diane, King, Gowther, and Bon probably stepping up to the plate to bring this man down. Yes, it was established in this chapter that at this time, King, he can't really do much against Mel. I mean, we've seen it firsthand these past couple chapters that King, he's been getting destroyed by Mel, which makes perfect sense, honestly. Let's just be completely real here. Even though King got a power up, Diane got a power up, it does not stop the fact that what Mel has right now is just insanely strong. It's like in-game level strength. I mean, it's what Meliodas has been, trying to achieve since the very beginning of the series, to get to around this level, to be able to remove the curse from him and Elizabeth. So, yeah, I mean, King not being able to step up and fight makes perfect sense. But if they all work together, they might be able to do something. And it was stated even if King was healed right now, it wouldn't do much. But if they probably all work together, they might be able to do something, which I think would fit the theme of this series, because when we think about, the 7 Deadly Sins, Taizai, it's always been a series that, focuses on teamwork, having our characters working together. I mean, we've seen our 7 Deadly Sins work together to bring down opponents before in the past, so seeing King, Diane, Gowther, Bon, and all that working together, it's honestly not that far of a reach. I mean, I can obviously see, someone like Merlin helping out, Escanor helping out. Well, I could just see all of the cast that is a part of the 7 Deadly Sins, at the very least, working together to bring down this big threat that is Mel. Now, getting off of that for a second, let's talk about Gowther's situation and what he could technically do to Mel at this moment. So, as we know, Gowther, in terms of physical strength, he's not going to be able to do much against Mel. We are fully aware of this, okay? I mean, anyone that is not aware of that honestly doesn't know Gowther's level of strength or where it's actually at. Gowther, even though he cannot be a physical fighter, he cannot, go toe-to-toe with the man and brawl with Mel at this moment. Even a while ago with the previous commandments, he had like 2 or 1 commandment, he still probably couldn't brawl with the man. But we gotta remember that Galter, he is someone that is just hacked. Like, the man is broken beyond repair. We know this personally. I mean, look what he did to every single being in the world. He legit manipulated their mind, their memories, their spirit, their soul, just to be able to play the story that Mel was Estarossa. So, we know Galter's abilities are just straight broken. Regardless of your power, what level of strength you have, for instance, Demon King, Supreme Goddess, he can still affect your mind and body. Now, he probably can't affect someone like the Supreme Goddess and, the Demon King that easy, because, I mean, he's, has to use some form of, forbidden spell to be able to achieve something like that. But it still does not stop the fact that, when it comes to Galter's abilities, he can overcome the power gap. For instance, just power scaling because of how broken his abilities are. So, if he's kind of like in the back and you have someone, let's say like Bond, that's being like a meat shield, just, stalling Mel, and when you have Diana King kind of going in being the DPS, you would have someone like Galter that would be like the support and trying to, just get into Mel's mind to make it to where he could calm down and he could potentially even remove the commandments from the man for everything would be a-okay. So yeah, that's kind of what I think is going to happen here. I feel like they're going to have to work together to do something like that. Now, speaking of which, I feel like the way Nakaba's, prepping this up, he's definitely setting up Bond returning, because it was already established that Bond is definitely way stronger than he was. I mean, his regeneration capabilities, from what we can see, is absolutely ridiculous. He's adapted to Purgatory, and he's lived for thousands of years inside of Purgatory now, thanks to everything. So, I mean, I truly do believe with all the pain and suffering that Bond had to go through for those thousands of years as well, I feel like he's probably going to turn around and use that against Mel, his experience and all that, to be able to assault him and, just win, or at the very least stall him. I don't think Bond has the power to maybe bring down, Mel by himself, but I do think Bond would probably put up a fight. In terms of strength levels, I think Bond, depending on the way Nakaba is setting this up, Bond might be even stronger than Escanor, current Escanor at this time, because, Escanor is nowhere near the top anymore, especially after what we've seen witnessed from Mel in this chapter alone. So, I think that's what he's kind of gearing up for, Bond to be set up as someone that can stall the man and compete for at least a little bit until more help arrives. Sar, he died, and so did Tar. Now, Tar's death makes perfect sense. I expected that because, I mean, with him pretty much messing up his only one job in the last chapter, it was only a matter of time until he regretted it and he died. Either everybody around him was going to die, or, he was going to die. It was going to be one or the other. And, in fact, he dies along with Sar in this chapter. Now, it's not officially confirmed if they are dead, because we gotta remember, Sar and Tar, they can regen. They don't have, like, a lack of regenerative capabilities. They can definitely heal themselves back up, especially if Elizabeth gets over there to save them. So, I don't necessarily say they're dead yet. It wasn't confirmed. It wasn't like, how Derriere's death was done. Like, it was just incredibly obvious she was dead right there. So, just Sar and Tar, there's a potential possibility that they're still alive, or they probably have lost their physical forms, and they now need, like, a host body, or they need to go into a relic to store their energy to be able to come back. So, I just don't think they're dead, but they're probably out for the time being. We're probably not going to see much of them at all now, because, I mean, it's very clear that Sarntar can't even do anything against Mael at this time, because, I mean, he's completely immune to light and dark attacks. So, it's kind of, it's kind of sad. I feel bad for Tar, because I know everybody's quick to blame him, and he did mess up, and yes, he did mess up, but as I said, it fits in line with his character. I don't really hate the man for what he did. I know he's technically the cause of why Derriere had to die, and I know he's the cause of anything that's going to happen this point going forward, but I don't want to blame the man, because he was a good-hearted individual. He wanted what was best for Mel, but he was very naive, and obviously he paid the price for it. But, yeah, I want to drop that there. So anyways, let's talk about the stuff going on with Derriere for a second. So, Derriere, we get a brief little scene with her at the beginning of the chapter, and it's very brief, but it shows how much Derriere has changed, and how this chapter was a perfect send-off for her. Now, I do want to admit that there's still a possibility that Derriere might not be dead. And the reason why I say that is because at the beginning, when we have that brief little, like, Derriere scene, you see Elizabeth, like, right above her, and she's crying. And I don't know how many of you remember this, but in the past, when Elizabeth, before she really awakened her goddess powers, she was on someone, she was crying, and they were able to heal. And I feel like that's kind of what Nakaba-sensei might be trying to imply, or giving us false hope, one or the other, that with Elizabeth right above Derriere, like that crying, maybe she was able to heal Derriere, and just keep her alive for the most part, and she's stable, but she needs to rest, and she's probably going to be like a vegetable-like state for probably a good bit, because it wasn't really stated if she was dead or not. I feel like Elizabeth would be a lot more upset if Derriere did die in that moment, especially for what Derriere means to Elizabeth, what Elizabeth did for Derriere. I mean, I just don't know. I feel like that's what Nakaba is implying with Elizabeth crying. Now, speaking of the Derriere moment, though, the scene, it shows how much she changed. From a brute savage wanting vengeance to someone that was compassionate, caring, and just wanted a quiet, happy life with Mon. That was a shocking moment, because, I mean, I think all of us are aware of how much Derriere has changed, but you just don't really realize it. Like, it doesn't click until you personally see it in this chapter. Just seeing just the hairstyle change, to the tone of voice and attitude that she was giving off in the past compared to what she's doing now. She's just changed for the better. And you saw Mon acting like he always did, from the start to the very end. He acted like he always did. He was a supporting, like, father figure or whatever over Derriere, always watching over her, always making sure, you know, she is safe and okay. And you see a brief little exchange where, you know, Meliodas, you know, betrays the Ten Commandments to Demon Clan, and, you know, he runs off. And Mon says something which, you know, is pretty jarring. He's like, maybe we should follow his lead. Maybe we should, you know, follow what Meliodas is doing. And obviously we know what happened to Derriere at that time, what happened to her family and everything. She was just fueled by rage. But Mon, he realized that that probably wasn't a good idea. You know, they could probably go down a different path and just be happy together. But, you know, Derriere wasn't having any of that, and she just went off being reckless to bring down, you know, the Archangels, and eventually fought, you know, Elizabeth and all of that. So, just seeing how Mon stated he wanted to follow Meliodas since the very beginning, but then he followed with Derriere. It just shows how much he cared about her to watch over her. And she's like, I've always known. Thank you, Mon. That was proving that she's like, I didn't realize what I had until I lost it, and it was also too late. And that's why she's like, thank you. So, in a way, I guess we could find happiness that if she really is dead, she will be able to see Mon once again, because we do know that the concept of afterlife does exist in Taizai, so that is a good thing. At least she now knows the truth of how Mon really was in the past, and she can actually, you know, accept his feelings and just, you know, be with him and just be internally happy. I believe I've covered everything. If I have missed anything, you know, you can correct me in the comments below, but I believe I have talked about what needs to be talked about. So, I love you guys. You have a wonderful day or night wherever you live. If you enjoy my content, you know, please subscribe. If you like this video, please leave a like. And if you want to get notified for whenever I upload a video, please click the bell icon down below. And with that, Chibi out.